Matthew 27 is another important chapter. We're going to see the crucifixion of Jesus here, and it's also another long one, so let's get into it. Let me just highlight a few things for you before you read it for yourself. Verse 3, when Judas, who had betrayed Jesus, realized that Jesus had been condemned to die, he was filled with remorse. So he took the 30 pieces of silver that he got for selling him out, and he took it back to the leading priests and the elders, and you see that they didn't take it back. He ends up hanging himself and committing suicide. Anyway, back to Jesus, his trial before Pilate. So now he's standing before Pilate. It says, when the leading priests and the elders made their accusations against him, Jesus remained silent. And by the way, the Old Testament says that he would do this. And they said, don't you hear all these charges that they're bringing against you? Pilate said to him. But Jesus made no response to any of the charges, much to the governor's surprise. See, Jesus knew that he had a job to fulfill. He knew that he would have to go to the cross, and he had sort of prepared himself to do that. And again, plus the Old Testament said that Jesus would not say anything before his accusers. Okay, so I'll let you read that for yourself. It says in verse 25, all the people yelled, we will take responsibility for his death, we and our children. And this is sort of a foreshadowing, because this, theologically, we know that this is true, that really the people who put Jesus on the cross, it wasn't just the soldiers, it wasn't Pilate, it was actually us. Our sins are the things that put Jesus on the cross. Keep that in mind. As we scroll a little bit further, the soldiers mock Jesus, and then we get to the crucifixion. I'll let you read this for yourself, but I want to highlight this part right here. It says that they scoffed at Jesus. He saved others, but he can't save himself. So he is the king of Israel, is he? Well, let him come down from the cross right now, and we will believe him. Now, again, Jesus certainly could have done this. Jesus had the power to do this. He could have come off the cross. He had, performed all these incredible miracles, but he knew his purpose. He knew that it was his job to go to the cross and die for the sins of the world. So he just stayed on the cross. It says in verse 46, at about 3 o'clock, Jesus called out in a loud voice, Eli, Eli, lema sabachthani, which means, my God, why have you abandoned me? Now, I encourage you to go back and read Psalm 22 in the Old Testament, and you'll see so much of this is connected to what's happening here in Matthew 27. And so Jesus is beginning to experience the wrath of the Father, and he's on the cross. And again, you can read for yourself everything that happens here, and he dies. And it says in the next passage there that he gets buried, and they put a guard at the tomb, and that's sort of how this chapter ends. Now, there's one more chapter in the book of Matthew, but the chapter ends with Jesus in the tomb, and we'll see what happens next. But for now, you're ready to read Matthew 27. We'll see you tomorrow for chapter 28.